We live in a country where money is accessible, resources are accessible. If you can just get your mind right to be able to go out and get them. This is a person with a platform of over 1 million followers. This is a person with a track record and a portfolio, working with different brands, getting different deals. She could not easily, but she has the capacity to develop her own business. Money is not an issue. I can't always muster up the creative energy and the brain power to keep myself going. I can't sustain it. It is very exhausting to do creative work, and people do not understand that. A good install is nothing apart from good hair extensions. Introducing our new Raw Indian Hair Editions, coming soon to the Syddin Pretty website, summer 2023. Unleash your greatest hair potential. Ladies, it's Sydney from Syddin Pretty here. Today I have a video that is different from my usual, and I was trying to figure out if I wanted to put this on my other channel or put this on this channel, but I think I would like to share this with you all, and if you like content along these lines, then you can check out the other channel. I think that's how I would like to go about it. So bear with me. I am trying to spice up the channel a little bit, so there will be different type of content coming. I'm working on getting back into the salon, so I will be posting some videos that showcase salon work, not just my hair, and I'm excited about that. You all can always let me know your content suggestions down below, and I will do my best to address them as soon as I can. Today's video is going to be a bit more personal, and I want to share this because I've always just naturally been one of those people that whenever they learn something, they got to go and tell everybody else, because I genuinely want to help. You know what I'm saying? So I want to share this because it's a rough time. I feel like we live in a really rough time right now. Just this period of time, I think, I wouldn't be shocked if it continued that way. And I'm hoping that by sharing my story, it can be of use to anyone who finds themselves in a similar situation. I'm gonna give y'all a little bit of context for the things that I'm gonna tell y'all, okay? I would consider myself an open person, but I'm also very private. And I feel like some things are sacred, which is why even though I like sharing things, there's certain things that, I kind of have to marinate on, right? And so for context, I'm gonna let y'all know I am 25 years old, right? So I've been 25 as of this year. And when y'all see that, for those who are around my age or younger or a little bit older, and maybe you feel like you haven't accomplished much in your life, whatever. I want to share that for you, because I know I have always been one of those people who I put a lot of pressure on myself. And so when I talk about what I'm getting ready to talk to you all about, I know that where I've been for the last several years is a result of finally imploding from all of that pressure I put on myself. You know what I'm saying? We can only take so much. And then for those of y'all who are older than me and maybe you wondering, that's how old I am, y'all. So I might have sneakily, whatever you say, I might have, hinted at or whatever, but I know I've never just been direct about it, because I always never wanted, especially when I only was posting hair content, I never wanted to be known for my age as a hairstylist. I always thought that was very corny. I just wanted my work to speak for itself, so that's one reason I never led with that. And number two, I just didn't feel like it was nobody's business. But in today's situation, I'm going to give y'all some context. So I came across a story today from a YouTuber named Alyssa Forever, who y'all may or may not be familiar with. I have never been a subscriber of hers. I've never tuned into her channel. I am aware of her face and I'm aware of her brand because I have been on YouTube for a minute. I haven't always consumed YouTube, but I've always been trying to be a content creator. So she is somebody who has been in this YouTube space when people didn't even know that YouTube was a career. She's been on here. And so I want to point that out to give her props, because she's obviously not a lazy person. She's obviously someone who has been ambitious and dedicated to themselves and their goals, but life happens. So I seen another YouTuber who I've been watching for a hot minute, Troy's TV, and I don't watch every video of Troy's, but I know when I was a little bit younger, I used to watch a lot of his videos where he would share intimate details about his life and also his commentary. I think he's mad funny. I think he's very funny. I don't watch all his videos, but he put out a story disclosing or sharing her story that she's currently homeless, in California. And prior to me watching his video, of course, I read the comments, because that's what I always do. I'm sure y'all are not the only ones. That's how a lot of us are lonely, or we crave more socializing, because we be on social media not even worried about the content no more. We want to see what people saying. We want to be in the conversation before anything, right? That's how I take it. When I was looking at the comments, though, they were eating Troy's up in them comments, saying he was insensitive, what have you. So before I watched his video, I chose to go find the original video and look at it. And I don't want to really summarize for real, because I don't want to misrepresent her or her story. I would encourage you all to go and watch it yourselves. And I may end up leaving it in the comments so you can go and check the video out instead of having to wonder what I'm talking about. Upon finishing her video, though, I went and I listened to his, and I could see where people in the comments were coming from. I could see where he was coming from, but I could see where people in the comments were coming from. I feel like I could see where Troy's TV was coming from, because in the past, I always had a pick yourself up by your bootstraps mentality. Always. Because that is the mantra that I lived by. That's what I live by for myself. Regardless, you gotta keep going. And it was a coping mechanism for me. So I can see why he's saying that. But after going through what I've been through these last couple of years, I can't even put that type of pressure on nobody ever again. Because I had to realize that just because I've been able to pull myself out of certain situations doesn't mean everyone else is going to be able to respond the same, because everyone's situation is different, number one. And number two, I don't care how strong you are. I'm the strong friend, right? I'm always the strong friend. I've always been the strong friend. Regardless of how strong you are, we are all humans, and there will ultimately come a day where your knees buckle. You know, while you trying to pick yourself up out of your bootstraps, you gonna buckle eventually, right? And so now I have a much more grounded perspective on a lot of perspectives. I'm way more empathetic on a lot of things, and so I can see why so many people in the comments were eating him up. I said that to say, and I took some notes for this. Let me look on my computer, because I didn't want to do a reaction video because I knew that would take so long. I did kind of outline this because I know how I can be long-winded, and I didn't want to, drag this out too much. But seeing the mixed reactions to Alyssa forever sharing her story of how, she went from being this grand YouTuber to now becoming homeless, y'all. It just really resonated with me for where I've been in my life. Okay, and I wanted to share my story. If there's anything that I kind of felt like I seen this, but now I see it differently. The way people kick you when you fall, I can see how people end up on Skid Row. I can see how people, in the midst of a job market that is thirsty for jobs, still choose to exist in a state of homelessness, or just, not really being productive. Because when you hit that rock bottom, and everybody's rock bottom is going to be different. For me, it was having to move back home to my parents' house and sleep on an air mattress for 3 years. That was my rock bottom. My rock bottom was, for me, I've been having my own business since I was literally a freshman in high school, but I got people telling me, oh, well, maybe you should start a business. Like, I haven't already been doing it. Like, y'all haven't already seen all my accomplishments. For me, it was my 9-year-old little cousin laughing at me because I'm 23 still living at my mom's house, even though I was 21, not only with my own luxury apartment but also my own salon suite. That was my rock bottom. Alyssa's forever rock bottom is her living in a hotel. And actually my rock bottom before, because I didn't hit rock bottom before, and I want to bring this up to let y'all know, as long as you still have air in your lungs, it's never really the bottom for real. But my rock bottom before was being 18, freshly graduated, and spending summer 2016 living in my car. Couch surfing. That was a rock bottom for me. And 2 years later, I was up, in a whole new city, booked and busy, doing hair, making money. Doing very well for myself, being able to take month-long trips out of the country. So everybody's rock bottom is different. And just because a person's rock bottom might not seem as bad to you, or you feel like you've been through worse and you've been through so much, that doesn't minimize or invalidate another person's experience. But unfortunately, y'all, if there's anything I have learned, and I feel like I just said this, but another thing I've learned is the importance of really, really, really paying attention to see who's really, really there for you. Because of course, moments like these really show you what you really have in terms of your social network and the quality of your social network. I can say, despite the different drama, despite, things I might have not been happy with or unresolved issues, one thing I can say very proudly and thankfully is I have had a very supportive family throughout this time. Not every single person has been supportive, but I've had a lot of support from my family members, and I'm very grateful for that. And I have one friend who I've had for years, and I have a very supportive friend. That's the reason this person is still in my life, because the character does not, the character card don't decline. You see what I'm saying? So situations like that really show you that. Another thing I've noticed from this time period of my life is, and I could be wrong about this, but this is my perspective from seeing my situation and seeing other people's situations, like Alyssa Forever. In Choice TV's video, unfortunately, he shared a story that I had never heard of, a urban model, a former urban model who, upon doing my research, allegedly, while in that business, was hoodwinked and tricked and deceived into human trafficking under the guise of signing a contract with a new agency, which along the lines caused her to develop a drug habit that that I don't want to say destroy her, because again, any day that you have life, it's not over, but caused her life to take a different turn. And to see how quick people are to dehumanize you when you are someone who was once, at the top, whatever the top may be, whether you Alyssa Forever, whether you're this model, whatever, to see how quick people are to dehumanize you and almost like revel or be entertained or kind of get joy from seeing somebody like that fall is just absolutely crazy. And it really shows people's jealousy. It really shows the evil of human nature, in my opinion. When people have their own inferiority complexes, or because if you notice Choice TV, he's a YouTuber, right? So I'm just saying how I feel about it. When people see somebody who they felt like was higher than them get humbled, it's really disgusting to see how quick people are to strip that person of their humanity and, maybe not come out and just ha ha ha, ki, but kind of get a little something from seeing that person be brought down to, I guess, eye level to them. And I can see why people would feel that way, maybe in situations where sometimes we do get haughty, right? And sometimes maybe we feel like we're untouchable, whatever. I could see how people could feel that way. But even in situations where you got people who just, you can't really see that from them. They might be normal people. It might be, R.I.P. Nipsey Hussle. It could be a Nipsey Hussle type situation. Somebody who, yeah, they are on the come up, but they still maintain that level-headed space. This still happens in situations like those as well. So it's very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate, but that is something you will learn as you stumble and before you get back up. And when you have to hear that, people constantly making remarks towards you, you being treated a certain kind of way in certain types of environments, whatever. I can see why people get into situations where it's like, I can see why a person would be homeless and just completely give up on life. And I'm not even talking about people who are homeless and struggle with addiction, or, you know, to the point where they literally can't keep a job because of addiction, but they can't keep a job because mental health, because they have completely given up on life. Does this make sense? I'm hoping this makes sense. And I can see that because that's where I was. You know, thank God I never developed any habits or anything like that, but I wanted to give up on life, right? And so I said that to say, and this is something I've had to learn myself, we have to be kinder to one another. Not only do we need to be kinder to one another because why be mean, but also because you never know when it's going to be you who needs someone to show you that level of grace, that level of love, that level of mercy. Situations like those can happen to any of us. It doesn't matter if you're a hardworking person. It doesn't matter if you're an ambitious person. You could lose someone in your life who's very close to you, and that could cause a depressive episode. And so while I hear Choice TV talking to Alyssa Forever saying, because she says she does not want to, I mean, why would she go work at Walmart? You know, and so there's people in the comments like, that's your problem now. You broke and you don't want to work at Walmart. You know, oh, she thinks she too good for Walmart, blah, blah, blah. What I feel like people fail to realize in this video, and from what she was presenting and telling her story, is, y'all, we don't exist in a society of money issues. I'm not saying we might not have systemic issues going on and certain things, but for the most part, we live in a country where money is accessible, resources are accessible. If you can just get your mind right to be able to go out and get them. This is a person with a platform of over 1 million followers. This is a person with a track record and a portfolio, working with different brands, getting different deals. She could easily, not easily, but you know, she has the capacity to develop her own business. Money is not an issue. Just like money wasn't an issue when this entire 3 years that I moved out of Las Vegas, I did one pop-up in Vegas and I was able to make $2,500 in 2 days. You know, so the money is there. I got people on my line. I got y'all asking me about custom color extensions, and I got people subscribing to my Patreon, but I can't always muster up the creative energy and the brain power to keep myself going. I can't sustain it. It is very exhausting to do creative work, and people do not understand that. So it's not as simple as her going to get a job at Walmart, right? It's not as simple as me going to get a job at the mall. I've did that too, but why would I go and work for $7? Why would I go and work for $10, $15, $20 an hour when I have a skill set and I actively have people wanting to pay me? What's missing is not the money. What's missing is my sanity. Do you see what I'm saying? And I really want to emphasize that, because people really think you can throw money at homelessness. People really think you can throw money at poverty in America. I can't speak for other nations. In America, people really think that is the solution, is throw more money. We see how many people who didn't have much came up through the pandemic, whether it be legally, illegally, whether it be through unemployment, falsifying PPP loans, whatever they was doing. How quick did they squander that money? It doesn't matter when your mind is not right. It doesn't matter when you don't have a foundation. It doesn't matter when you are restless. It doesn't matter when you are depleted. So I could really relate to this story because for me, I always had the pick yourself up mentality, because that's what I put on myself. All of the trauma I acquired, I'm not going to say I had the worst childhood. I didn't have the best childhood. I had the best childhood that my mom could give me, given the circumstances. And I have learned to see it for what it is and really appreciate the sacrifices that she made to give me the best life that she could. But unfortunately, despite the effort, which did pay off in a lot of ways, there's still, when you come from single parent households, when you come from low income, when you come from all of these different situations, unfortunately, there's still cracks, in areas where your identity, your self-esteem, your mental health, will inevitably be damaged, and so for me, my coping mechanism has always been work. People always used to wonder how I was so ambitious and, oh wow, you just so this, and wow, you're doing so much for your age, and where am I getting this fuel from? I've always been a visionary. I can't discredit that. I'm very grateful for that. But a lot of that fuel was from trauma. Number one, not wanting to ever be financially dependent on anyone. Number two, not ever wanting to be broke or struggle like we struggled. Number three, just wanting to or needing a way to escape the pain that I was acquiring throughout my years. That was an outlet for me. And we all seek out our outlets. For some people, it could be sex. A lot of people have so much to say, and I've been guilty of this. I can't say it's just people, judging young people, very young people. I mean, kids in middle school for being hypersexual and being fast. That could be a trauma response for that person. Somebody being very vain, that could be a trauma response. Somebody being very materialistic. We all have our different coping mechanisms and things that we do to get over the pain or to try to make ourselves feel better and to build ourselves back up. For me, that was always my work. And so when I got to a place where I was literally in the salon, and I can't remember, this was right before the pandemic, I think. But I remember I was in there. I had two of my clients in there, two of my regular clients, Icy and Asia. Asia was actually more than a client to me. We went to church together. We shared a lot. And so I can't think of what topic came up and what she spoke about. I'm not saying it wasn't a deep topic, but it wasn't deep enough for me to burst out in tears, hollering in the salon. So it comes a point where telling her she need to just go get a job at Walmart and she need to just go make more YouTube videos. You was making money off YouTube, so why you ain't making more videos? It's not about the money, y'all. When you are constantly on the go, right? And you on the go without addressing these different issues that come up, you can only go for so long without that no longer being able to be sustained. So it's not a money issue. It's a mental health issue. It's a spiritual issue. It's a creative issue. And in my opinion, when you are a creator, all of those things are looped together. Anybody, and this is the thing that I feel like a lot of people don't understand. I'm not saying it's hard to go to work and work a job. That's not what I'm saying. But the responsibility that comes with either being self-employed, freelance, or an entrepreneur, it's not the same as going to work and get a check. Because while yes, when you go to work, you do have to muster up the energy to go and do the task, you don't have to exercise the same level of brain power, the same level of multitasking, the same level of staying ahead of the curve. And it's the responsibility is way more, especially when you are a freelancer, especially when you are a YouTuber, especially when you are a freelance hairstylist or whatever, where you are the service. You are selling yourself, right? And so that draws out more of you to go and speak on behalf of Walmart, to go and speak on behalf of Target, or to go represent a Fortune 500 company. I'm not saying it doesn't require energy. I'm saying it's a whole different thing when what's being sold and the product that's being sold and the service that's being sold and exchanged is you. You are the service. That is very mentally draining. That is very energetically draining. Don't let you be someone who actually shows up and give your best. You're even more drained, right? And so when you attach, this is a big reason why I had to change up my business model, right? When you now attach your livelihood to this way that you're earning money, that's an immense amount of pressure. For me to now have to be paying my bills is one thing to live in your mama house and do hair. It's a whole other thing to have a whole lifestyle centered around this. It's a whole other thing to have a whole lifestyle centered around you being this YouTuber, right? And so you got to keep showing up and giving yourself in order to keep this going. That's a lot. So when she says she sold her house, it was too much for her. I could see why. There's been times where I've been so burnt out on hair. I could have had a $2,000 week. I could have had a great week. I could have just sold a $800 wig, but it was a time where in February 2020, right before the pandemic, I went and got a job at Shake Shack. I reduced my salon hours to part-time. I moved out of my salon suite. I sublet another girl's suite that was closer to my house, so I didn't have to travel as much. And I literally went and got a job at Shake Shack. I didn't need that money. I needed something steady. Okay, I needed something I could rely on. I needed something where I didn't have to think so much. I needed something where I didn't have to give so much of myself because I was so exhausted. Pair that with ever feeling like you're not getting the full return on what you're doing. If y'all go watch my video where I said influencers, whatever, if you go and look at one of my most popular videos and I had an outburst in that video, that's where that comes from. I can speak for myself with this, trying to, I always had this obsession because I was surrounded, different points in my life, I was surrounded by people who, I'm not saying all the time, I'm just saying I witnessed a lot of people do a lot of wrong. And I had this obsession with doing things the right way. I always wanted to be by the book, be integrity, always tell the truth, blah, blah. And unfortunately, the world we live in, I'm not saying you should ever get tired of that. Y'all know that's a Bible verse, never grow weary of doing what is right, whatever. I'm not saying you should stop doing the right thing, but unfortunately we live in a world where doing the right thing is not, most of the time, is not going to be appreciated. It's not going to be awarded, and it's going to take you triple times as long to get where you're trying to go doing things by the book. And so you get tired of that. You know what I'm saying? So the point I'm making is, like, I could totally relate to where she was coming from. Her saying that door dashing for her is what she loves to do. Yes, she could be making YouTube videos. Yes, she could be doing brand deals. But again, sometimes your freedom and your mental health and trying to rebuild your creative energy up again so you can go out and give it to the world, sometimes you cannot put a price on that. So I have people telling me, oh, why don't you just get a job doing this? It's not about a lack of money. It's not a lack of money. It's not a lack of opportunities. I could pick up tomorrow and go to Vegas and have people ready to book me. And my price is even, people pay me more because I'm scarce now, right? So the money is not the issue. It's the creative energy that it takes to go and fulfill this. When you're depleted, you know, and people don't get that. And sometimes I can speak for myself. It's better to be broke as a joke, sleep on an air mattress in your mama house, you know, just so you can relax, just so you can finally decompress, than to go and constantly get that money. Sometimes you get tired of that, you know. And so now I've learned not to overextend myself. I don't overextend myself. You will never catch me in the salon working 14-hour days again. You will never catch me standing up on my feet for that amount of time not eating ever again. You'll never catch me doing that ever again in my life. I remember there was one December during the holiday rush where I literally missed my menstrual cycle due to being so malnourished, not eating, working, stress. And this was actually, I think, the holiday rush before the pandemic, when I was just done. That was it for me, y'all. It's not always about work ethic. A lot of people always try to blame work ethic. It's not about that all the time. You do have some lazy people out there who don't want to work. But we got to stop acting like that's always the case. And we also got to stop acting like, I can't necessarily relate to this, but you do have people who work hard, and unfortunately, due to skill set issues, whatever, they ain't getting enough money for the amount of labor they're doing. That's burnout too. I'm thankful for those years. I learned a lot. I was able to build a lot. I've left a long lasting impact on a lot of people. You know, I'm very grateful. I've learned a lot that I'll be able to teach y'all. And, you know, but at the end of the day, you will never see that again from me. You will never. Because I've learned to put myself first. I put myself before money. I put my mental health, I put my well-being before anything in this world. Because in order for me to actually show up and better serve other people, I have to make sure that I'm pouring into myself first and foremost. You cannot separate income and currency from your spiritual health, your mental health, your spiritual state, your mental state. You can't. They're one and the same when you are a creator. If you are somebody who go to work and pick up a check, I think the same thing somewhat still applies. You can only perform so well, but it's one thing to go to work and to follow the task somebody is giving you. It's a whole other thing to have to come up and to create something. How can you create something from nothing? You see what I'm saying? And another thing he kept talking about in the video was like money management. Like, oh, I don't see how you had all that money and it wasn't Money is a currency, right? That means it likes to keep moving. If you are what attracts your currency in terms of you are your source of income, right? If you have blockages within you, you're not going to continue to produce money. So when I get ready to say what I'm about to say in the video, this is why I'm saying it. Again, y'all, when you are the product, when you are not functioning, you don't sell. And so this is why for me on my new channel, Syddin Pretty Pro, which is for professionals, I'm going to be teaching y'all strategies like this. It's really important to product size certain aspects of your business so that when you can't fulfill, when you can't show up, when you can't be the product, you can't be the merchandise, you have something tangible that can. And so this digital age we live in makes that possible. With the right planning and execution, it can be done. But ultimately, y'all, one thing I've really learned is you have to afford yourself the time to be able to regroup on a regular basis if you want to burn out. I mean, if you want to avoid burnout, okay? It's only so much you can do. And me telling y'all work was always my coping mechanism. Once I started to heal these different aspects of myself, I didn't have any more motivation. When my motivation was no longer a fear of being poor, when my motivation was no longer not wanting to be financially dependent on my parents or my mom, and you know, when my motivation was no longer rooted in scarcity and fear, I didn't have it no more, right? So I was like a balloon that was deflating. I had to find a whole new source, especially when you take out a spiritual aspect. When you remove, for me that's God, for me that's the Bible. When I remove that element, I'm just completely just depleted, right? And so I've had to rebuild myself. The point I want to, that's pretty much the point I want to make, y'all. Understand, if you're somebody, if you are somebody who is at that low point where like maybe you were somewhere and you've fallen and you're trying to, maybe you don't have the motivation no more. I didn't think I was gonna be doing hair. You know, I'm gonna be completely transparent with y'all. My prime agenda was, I'm done with this. I need to find me a man to take care of me, call it a day. I'm still letting my man take care of me, period. But I don't feel that way anymore. But I had completely thrown in the towel, right? And so that's a whole other element for y'all in relationships and stuff. If you happen to be so blessed as to find a man who you can rely on, don't ever take that man for granted. Okay, when I say rely on, I don't just mean financially, but also emotionally as well. If something happens and you call him and he show up, don't take people like that for granted. Even if it's your friend, even if it's your homegirl, even if it's your mom, your auntie, whatever, don't take people like that for granted, okay? Because that's rare. That's not, we get so used to things that we think we start getting entitled. And so that's why we have to be conditional in everybody's lives. We have to make sure we are conditional in other people's lives, and other people show up the same, so we don't get too comfortable and start, you know. But anyway, what I'm saying is, if you at that rock bottom, you just have to slowly but surely build yourself up the way that you know best. But one thing I will say is, if you on your way down, I just feel like it's only so far you should let yourself get, because it comes a point where the further down you fall, I feel like the harder it is to get back up. It's hard. It's really hard. It's really hard, y'all, to rebuild yourself. I've been in the process. I had let myself get all the way down 2020 to 2021, and it wasn't until about that October 2021 that I started rebuilding myself. And it was a process, but I can only imagine what that's like for somebody who is in deeper. Maybe you got a woman who was in a relationship completely dependent upon a man, you know, just completely, and maybe he just left you high and dry, and you was in that relationship for 10 years. You don't even have no skills, nothing, you know. There is nothing wrong with letting other people, you know, but you got to always keep your strength, keep your independence, because it's really hard to get yourself back up. It's really hard. And then you wonder why. I noticed in her video, she kept talking about her ex-boyfriend who she did so much for, but he just dogged her out. You get resentful of people who give you everything. I know during this period, how dare I started to resent my mom, because I had got so comfortable finally allowing myself to just relax. Then I started hating where I was, and so I was upset about that. How could you let me, you know what I'm saying? So if you wonder why you could give somebody everything and they don't like you, it seems like they hate you even more than somebody you never did nothing for. People resent that because it's kind of weakening. It kind of weakens you, especially a man. That's why you'll never take care of no man in that way, in my opinion. But that's pretty much what I had to say, y'all. That's pretty much what I had to say. This life Coming here as a 25-year-old, I've accomplished so much in this life by the grace of God. I'm so thankful. Like, I have literally accomplished so much to be my age, period. My mom always used to tell me that too. Like, that's a whole other video. I've accomplished a lot. I'm so proud of myself. And so I had to remember who I was. When other people was telling me this, I had to remember who I was. Unfortunately, y'all do know my old channel and stuff. If you wonder why I used to seem, maybe I seem just different on my old channel, that's why. I'm on YouTube projecting how other people are treating me onto this computer. You know what I'm saying? I can't even describe it to y'all, you know? But focus on where you were. Focus on who you are. Focus on all the wonderful, marvelous things you've been able to accomplish. You got to remember who you are. And you got to focus on that. You can't let anybody ever redefine you. You can't let anybody ever redefine you or tell you who you are and lie on you. You just got to... Sometimes it's okay to sit out. I told y'all I was living in my car at 18, which was devastating. I had just got my first salon suite, just graduated, and now I'm living in my car, going out to the club, trying to escape things, going out to the club, going to concerts, going to the salon to do hair, going to this gym to take a shower, sleeping in my car. Once in a while, somebody let me sleep on their couch, cycle repeat, going to a music festival, And from that period, I got so burnt out doing that. Then it's like, I had to move. That's when I moved back to Vegas because I had family out there that I could stay with. And it was like, I was nobody for that time. I moved out there with a duffel bag and my hair kit. I was doing hair a little bit, whatever. Got burnt out from that. It's like I had to just learn to just be. And from just being, I was broke as a joke. I was broke as an absolute joke. And so I had to just sit with that. But you know what I did gain in that season? Deliverance, spiritual growth, deliverance, just all kind of, positive things. And then the next year I was up. And when I was up, everybody's wondering, oh my God, how does this girl coming out here? How I managed to move to a new city, had no clients, was damn near fully booked in 6 months, had a salon suite, all that. Like, it was unheard of. Like, the type of moves I was making, it was unheard of. It was by the grace of God. It was because I was willing to sacrifice that season in my life where I had to be nobody in order to be somebody, if you get what I'm saying. And sometimes that's just the season that you're in life. And the sooner you embrace that, the sooner you can get to your blessing. You see what I'm saying? But seasons like that, that's where you build character. Those are the seasons where you grow, so you don't be in the salon having emotional outbursts. You know what I'm saying? And you heal those different aspects, because when you constantly on the go, it's really hard to do that. It's hard to know what you need to work on when your mind is constantly preoccupied and constantly doing things. So that's what I had to say. I wish everybody I just pray that everybody who's going through that, just that season of a tearing down, I just pray that y'all would be elevated, that y'all would get what you need out of it and not be destroyed by it, because it's hard. It's hard. It's hard. It can be hard. And unfortunately, you attract so much more of that. That's when you attract the wrong type of relationships, the wrong type of people. So you have to really, really get your mind right, get your spirit right during them times, because unfortunately, when you down, that's when people gonna kick you the most. It just is what it is. It's unfortunate, but we all will inevitably, we all do for it at some point. And so knowing that, I feel like it's important to be mindful of how we choose to treat others when we see them in that particular season of their lives. Okay, so y'all let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure you visit the Syddin Pretty website to see, you know, if you want to support my channel, if you enjoyed this message, you want to support my channel, definitely check out my offerings on the Syddin Pretty website. I have different hair accessories, also educational content, and I would really appreciate it. But I will talk to y'all in the next video. Thank you for watching.